All right, let's talk about time management, but we're going to do it through a lens that's, believe it or not, over 2,000 years old and somehow more relevant than ever. I'm talking about Stoic philosophy. We're going to dig into how ancient thinkers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius can teach us, right now, how to master our time and live with a whole lot more peace and purpose. Let's dive in and see how we can reclaim our most valuable asset.
You know that feeling, right? You look up at the clock and you're just like, where did the day go? We get so caught up in this whirlwind of modern life. You've got countless tasks, endless distractions, and bam, the day's just gone. Time, which is supposed to be our most precious gift, just seems to slip right through our fingers. But what if you could actually stop that? What if you could start using every single moment with real intention? Well, the Stoics believed you absolutely can. So, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with a whole new way to look at time. Then, we'll get into how to protect your focus. After that, we'll talk about investing your time in a richer life. And finally, we'll get to the real key to mastering it all. Okay, so first up, a new view of time. And this is so important because for the Stoics, it all starts here. You can't even begin to control your schedule until you first control your perspective. Seriously, this mindset shift, it's the foundation for absolutely everything else we're going to talk about. So this is the core idea right here. Most of us, we kind of act like time is limitless, right? But the Stoics, they knew it's the one thing you can never, ever get back. It's not just a resource, it's your most valuable asset. And once you spend it, it's gone, forever. When you really let that sink in, truly grasp it, the way you approach every single day, it just has to change. And this quote from Seneca just hits it perfectly. He totally reframes the problem. What he's saying is, look, it's not that our lives are too short. Life is actually plenty long enough to achieve amazing things if we invest our time well. The real problem isn't the number of years we have, it's how many hours and days we just throw away on stuff that in the end doesn't matter at all. Okay, let's try a little thought experiment to make this real. Imagine every single morning you receive a set amount of time. Think of it like money being deposited into your account. Now, would you spend it wisely on things that bring you real value? Or would you just kind of let it dribble away on trivial, unimportant matters? When you start viewing time this way, it really forces you to think much more carefully about every single moment. And a huge part of valuing your time is learning to live in the only piece of it you actually own, right now, the present moment. Think about it. Every second you spend dwelling on past regrets or stressing about future anxieties, that's a moment literally stolen from your life today. So by focusing on what's right in front of you, you're not just being mindful, you're actively reclaiming your time with clarity and calm. And wow, this quote just illustrates that perfectly, doesn't it? Just think for a second about how much time and energy we lose just worrying about things that might never, ever happen. Seneca's reminding us that most of our suffering is totally self-inflicted. It's just our imagination running wild about the future, stealing our peace in the present. Okay, so we've got the mindset down. Now let's move into our next section and talk about the practical side of things, building a toolkit for protecting your focus. Because look, having the right perspective is great, but it's not enough. You need actual strategies to defend your time from all the chaos. So take a look at this. Which one of these sounds more like your typical day? On the left, you've got the reactive day. This is where you're saying yes to everything, you're constantly being interrupted, and you end the day feeling totally overwhelmed and exhausted. Then on the right, you have the proactive day. You're saying no when you need to, you have clear priorities, you're focused, you feel balanced and in control. This right here, this is the difference between being a slave to your schedule and becoming its master. So the big question is, how do we get more of those proactive days? Well, the Stoics basically give us a 4-step toolkit. Step 1, reflect. Every day, just take a moment to review your actions and your goals. Step 2, master the art of saying no. You've got to learn to decline things that just don't align with your priorities. Step 3, ignore the trivial stuff. Filter out all the pointless arguments and distractions. And finally, step 4, choose quality over quantity. Focus on doing a few things really, really well instead of a ton of things poorly. You know, I absolutely love this quote from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Think of it as the ultimate mental filter. So much of our day, our energy, our time, it gets eaten up by things that, in the grand scheme of things, make absolutely no difference. Zero. Learning to just be indifferent to that stuff, that's the real secret to unlocking your focus. And this next point is huge, so important. True value is in the quality of what you do, not the quantity.
It's not about how many tasks you can check off a to-do list. Ask yourself, would you rather skim 100 books or deeply understand just 10? Would you rather have hundreds of superficial online friends or a few deep, meaningful relationships? The Stoic principle is so simple but so powerful. Do less, but do it better.
Which brings us perfectly to our third section, investing in a rich life. Because, let's be honest, managing your time isn't just about being more efficient or getting more done. What's the point of all that? The ultimate goal is to use that time you've protected to build a life that's actually full of meaning and fulfillment.
Now take a look at this chart for a second. If you were being really honest with yourself, an average day might look something like this, right? A huge chunk of it just gone, lost to distractions. The whole Stoic approach is about encouraging us to consciously take that time back and reallocate it towards things that genuinely make our lives richer. So, the real question is, what does your chart look like?
So, if we're going to reinvest our time, where do we put it? The Stoics pointed to 3 areas with a massive return on investment. First, silence and solitude. This is where you connect with yourself and get real clarity. Second, create memories. Invest your time in experiences with people you love, not just in buying more stuff. And third, never stop learning. Dedicate real time to self-improvement and picking up new skills.
And this quote from Steve Jobs, it is just packed with Stoic spirit. It really captures that sense of urgency, doesn't it? The message is so clear. Don't put off creating those amazing memories. Don't wait. Invest your time now in the people and experiences that truly matter, because today, this present moment, it's the only thing you're ever really guaranteed. But out of all these great ways to invest your time, the Stoics believe there was one that paid the highest dividends of all. And that's becoming a lifelong learner. Seriously, the time you invest in knowledge, that's the one investment that just keeps compounding for the rest of your life. It's the #1 way to become a better version of yourself every single day. All right, that brings us to our final section. And this is where we reveal the key to mastery. This is the one thing, the single principle that ties everything we've talked about together and actually makes it all possible. And that key, that one thing, is self-discipline. But for the Stoics, this wasn't about punishment or being hard on yourself. Not at all. It was a superpower. Think of it as the internal engine that gives you the power to actually control your own mind, to shift your mindset, to protect your focus, and to invest your time where it really counts. I mean, listen to this powerful idea from the philosopher Epictetus. He's saying that self-discipline isn't about restriction. It's the exact opposite. It's the only path to true freedom. See, when you can control your own habits and your own impulses, you're no longer a slave to them. You become the master of your own life. So, when you boil it all down, it comes to this one simple truth. Time management, it's not really about apps or calendars or complicated schedules. At its very core, it's about making conscious choices. Every single decision you make about how to spend a minute, an hour, or a day, that is a decision about how you are choosing to live your one life. And that really leaves us with just one final empowering question for you. Your life isn't something that's going to happen later. It's being built right now, in this very moment, by the choices you're making. So after everything we've talked about today, what are you going to choose to do with your time?